Hello everybody, welcome to Starseed Mission Support. I'm waiting for this little technological lag for computer to update me that we are indeed live. Oh, there we go. Hi everybody, welcome. Really excited to talk about a part of myself that I probably have the most appreciation for right now, and from all the conversations that I've been having with you guys over the last few days with the solar storms and everything, I know that our Earth self is definitely needing some space hugs, a little cosmic snuggle, and so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have a cosmic snuggle party, and we're going to talk about the Earth self. And I think that today's conversation is, it might be a little difficult for some parts of our being. And so we definitely want to begin our journey today just in this really gentle way. We're going to breathe together and just tap into this vibrational field. And so just sit back and relax. Field, and we're going to get started in just a few minutes. Welcome to everybody that is here for the first time. Welcome to the mothership. We usually start our journey together with just a little bit of sound healing to get us into a more meditative, astral kind of etheric energy field. We want to build peace because some of the things that we talk about here on this show are super real, and they can agitate, different parts of ourself, and it's really to encourage healing and to receive support for the parts of ourself that need it the most. But sometimes those conversations can be a little bit difficult, and so we begin our journey together with some gentle sound healing where we can just kind of feel the presence of our unity, feel the presence of divine love permeating the field, and just really feel that you can relax and feel safe here in this community. And so we're going to get started in just a little bit here. Welcome to everybody that's tuning in here live already. started in just a couple of minutes. Hey everybody, welcome to Starseed Mission Support. How's everybody doing this week? I know that there's a lot of solar activity that's happening, and I love that you guys are telling me where you're tuning in from all over the world. Thank you for being that pillar of light wherever you are. I'm so excited that the mothership frequencies are radiating throughout the world, and we are coming together in great unity together. And how beautiful it is that we get to be on this beautiful adventure together on the earth during this very crazy time on earth. And people are saying they're having an intense week. It has been a very intense week. I think that the energy levels are at the extreme level of the spectrum bar. And so definitely want to take this conversation really easily today. I'm probably going to talk a little bit slower than usual. And we're going to be communicating about the earth self and the shadow body, which is really the part of us that's been getting triggered. I've been having lots of conversations with starseeds, and it seems like everybody is, shadow boxing, but also hearing a lot of shadow work success stories this week. A lot of people are sharing with me their immediate results when they just go in and they get triggered or they feel challenged, and they take the tools that they've gained and they go in and deal with the thing, and then they immediately are rewarded with a new creation or abundance or a new friend or a new timeline that comes in. And so we're getting this feedback from the reality that doing the work really works, and there's nothing else that works better than just doing the work. And you guys know that I'm never here to sell you any shortcuts. I have shortcuts to share, but they're not shortcuts. Like I was watching these posts on Facebook where people are like, join my activation and you can just meditate for not even a minute a day and activate your DNA. And I was like, what is this person talking about? While I think that a lot of tools are helpful, I'm making some activations and recordings that I'm going to make available for free on YouTube and everything. I know that there's no bypassing the very real work as human beings that we do on a day-to-day basis. And so I'm always really concerned when people are out there selling starseed activations and they specifically use this marketing ploy of telling you can bypass your work if you follow me. And I just think is ridiculous. And so they're like, you don't even have to do it every day, just buy this activation and you be good. And I'm like, is there anything in the world where you don't practice and you can become a master of? Literally nothing. Skateboarding, riding a bike, playing the piano, becoming a writer, becoming a scientist, anything at all. It requires devotion, and it's a heart-based devotion because we love what we're doing so much that it doesn't even feel like work. Sure, absolutely. But anything that we want to get good at requires mastery. And so I have shortcuts to share. I have many shortcuts to share, and these shortcuts need to be applied. on a daily basis. And we're going to talk about why it's so crucial and why there's so many people that want to confuse and I want to use our suffering to trick us into not finding our empowerment. I think that the shadow body is a really important conversation. And I think that through my shamanic training, I have a multidimensional perspective to talk about the shadow body in just a holographic, energetic way. So it's not so mystifying. And then, we are going to get into a little bit about how the demonic forces definitely utilize these holes in our field to manipulate people, especially when we were younger. If we had loved ones, I know that a lot of starseeds, because you're so bright, so many things try to hinder your awakening from a very young age. And so we want to talk about some of those things we may have experienced as a child, and even now, people around us whose shadow bodies really allow them to be a channel for, abuse and for just generally trying to wreck your vibe. And, we want to learn about how we can seal our energy field through the clearing of our own shadow body so that we really become unfuckwithable, because our field is so clear and there's only so much love radiating through our body that really nothing can take us out of that energy. I think that our conversation is going to get a little bit spicy today, so I'm just taking my time. I can already feel the heat coming in. And so today's conversation is going to be partially about the Pleiades Gateway as well. The Pleiades Gateway is my 3-day masterclass where we spend about 8 hours a day in the energy field of this transharmonic stargate opening. A transharmonic stargate is when certain alignments occur on the earth and in the interdimensional fields of the earth, which allows higher dimensional cosmic energy to enter the planet. And so this particular alignment is when the earth, the sun, and the Pleiades are in alignment. And regardless of you being a Pleiadian starseed or not, most starseeds actually received training in the Pleiades before coming to the earth. And so if you feel connected to the Pleiades, this is a great opportunity for us to call home or connect in with Starseed Mission and receive higher dimensional aspects of ourselves. As for a transharmonic gateway is one where higher dimensional harmonics of consciousness are easier accessible. What this means is our higher self, right? Our higher dimensional aspects of ourself, we have an easier time accessing those during these stellar gateways, which, it's nothing new. Ancient times, we've always tracked stellar alignments and held ceremony during those stellar alignments. And the tricky thing is, obviously, in order for us to embody those higher aspects of ourself, what's in the way is the distortions and the trauma inside of our earth self and our shadow body. And so this is why I'm really going to break down why the Pleiades Gateway is going to be so valuable for you guys to come. And, so many want private sessions. My private sessions are $233 for 2 hours. And I get to go really deep with one person, but I'm often repeating myself. And this way, over 3 days, I'm able to relay all the information you might be looking for about the Starseed mission. What is the mission? There's a unified mission of interdimensional rescue or field repair, where we're here to reconnect the earth and the fallen systems back to source. And this is an interdimensional process that is happening through our own DNA. So I'm going to be breaking that information down. This is really just a fast track because the information that I'm about to share in this 3-day masterclass is really stuff that you might have to be looking for out there for years. And I'm really just going to give you the shortcut, right? And the shortcut is pointing at the parts that are resistant or making it impossible for us to access our higher self. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't feel like I hear my guides and stuff. Well, sensitivity training is really what we have to undergo in order to know for sure that we're actually connecting to our higher self and we're not being deceived. And sensitivity training is basically the excavation of our denser light body, which is our shadow body. And so it's all interconnected, right? Our goal is to provide you this experience where you access your own higher self. And in our previous Pleiades Gateway, a lot of people were feeling contact with interdimensional beings, these healer master beings that we work with. A lot of people were feeling the presence and feeling connected to their higher self in a way that they've never felt before. But the way that we do that in safety is for me to actually teach you how to do sensitivity training. And this is something that I get asked about a lot. People are like, I was told that I shouldn't go to channeling events and I shouldn't try to connect with my guides because it's dangerous. Yes, it is. And there are tools that you can use, there are techniques that you can use to gain that sensitivity, to be able to discern. And this relies on your devotion to healing the shadow body. So I am going to dive into this information in this transmission here today. Of course, we're going to be able to go so much deeper in our 3-day masterclass. And the reason for that is just that we are going to be doing 2 or 3 full-length ceremonies. And the ceremonies are really a space that I want to have contained. We want to feel safe. We don't want anybody that just can come into the field, just like on YouTube where, there can be trolls and there can be, extra eyes. We want to have a contained, safe space for ceremony so that we can feel safe enough to open up our energy field to receive healing. And so let's talk about our earth self. Let's start with our conversation today. I feel that the greatest hero in our life is our earth self, who is the one that shows up to our healing on a day-to-day basis. This stuff, these teachings, these classes, this support that I'm offering, it's really for the earth self, because your higher self doesn't need my help, right? Your higher self doesn't need me to teach it things, doesn't need me to help you remember. Your higher self is already connected to source, already connected to your soul's wisdom. And so the reason why we're creating this support and who needs the support is really your earth self that has entered into this dense field of amnesia, that has forgotten and disconnected from source, and from that disconnection experienced a lot of trauma. And a lot of this trauma is really difficult for a person to just find because they're hidden in the denser layers of the aura. And that's why sometimes, people can heal for decades and still not find the root, because a lot of the roots of these loops and these traumas are actually in the DNA and in the interdimensional field. And so we want to talk about, the shadow body, because it's actually quite a complicated thing. People have different simplifications of this, and they'll say, oh, it's the ego. You just got to kill your ego, as if humans are just normally these, rude beings that are spiritually inadept. And, these are just kind of immature, superficial ways of perceiving. And once we start to perceive the human being as a holographic, multidimensional, energetic being, we realize that our personality and our energy and how we express ourselves are all the tip of the iceberg of our whole energy field. This is why sometimes when we are living inside the false matrix, like say you have a job and you have to interact with, people as a telemarketer or even as a teacher, and you have to create this personality that is acceptable or societally deemed professional, but maybe you have to express yourself in a way that's totally inauthentic to you. And just normally, if you were just free, you would not express yourself in any of the ways that you are when you have to be a professional. And in that way, you begin to actually create these artificial personality geometries, as I call them. And then if we have, let's say, one from kindergarten when somebody made fun of us, and then we have another one in middle school when we just wanted to have friends, and then we start to develop these personality traits that are not authentic to ourselves and are based on needing validation from others or needing to receive love. And so we give up these parts of our authentic self in exchange for external love. Over time, those things build up and we begin to experience this great separation between our soul and our sense of self inside of our humanness. Yeah. And so, it's hot. Let's see here. So, what happens when the soul and the body are disconnected? Here we're talking about the science of incarnation. So, in our society, the existence of a soul is even questioned, right? People definitely don't, especially the scientific community, it's not like they're even spending time in researching how the soul enters the body, how the soul integrates into the body, and how the soul exists and intermeshes and connects to the body. These are sciences of bio spiritual embodiment, or bio spiritual technology, which is what human bodies are, is an angelic, cosmic creational technology. And there were intents for all the little ways that these bodies were designed. And this is where I get really nerdy, because as a geneticist from the angelic realms, this is kind of like the scientist part of my existence, where I'm having intended or followed the intention of human creation is like, okay, we want this body to be able to experience joy and delight and beauty and pleasure and, taste beautiful things and understand what is good for it and what isn't. And the body naturally has these sensations designed into it to tell it what is good for it and what isn't, what it likes and what it doesn't like. And really, this experience on earth was designated for brilliant, beautiful, tasty, delicious, and joyful experiences. Okay. Now, because on earth we enter into the false matrix where the soul is questioned and we don't believe that there is a soul as a collective, what happens is that we created this false matrix. I call it the false matrix prison system, because it's created to be purely 3D, disconnected from source. It's a prison system for souls that come into the physical, into 3D bodies. And over time, that disconnection, because what happens when the soul is not in the body is that there is life force energy that begins to, let's say, rot and decompress and attract different energies to be able to siphon and basically loosh collection. And loosh is something that, it's not a new concept to our community, but most of the time we talk about in the sense of, human trafficking and ritual abuse. And we think, oh, or even these false flag events, we think, oh, they're looshing or collecting emotional energy. But looshing is actually something that happens pervasively in our society, where, when you look at it, most people are existing in a state of unhappiness and anxiety, even if it's subconscious, right? And I want you to think about your own life, where the original state that you're meant to exist in, when you close your eyes, even your body is supposed to just feel like this delightful, expansive field of stars, and you're meant to feel all of your cells in this very somatic and fleshy, but like abundant and kind of comfortable way. That's how it's meant to feel in our body. That's how it's designed to feel. Okay? And once we begin to really heal through these denser layers of our aura and through these places in our body that are perpetuating, disease, and we're going to go into what mental illness and what disease is. But when we begin to really heal through those things, we start to access this original state, this original orgasmic, joyful, free, sovereign state. And we realize that in comparison, what has been normalized in our society is anxiety and depression and discontentment and not unfulfillment, right? People are like, oh, insecurity. Insecurity is a huge one, right? It's a disconnection from your sense of self, where you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough, or I don't know if I'm beautiful, or I don't want to take up space, and I don't know if people like me. All of these little subconscious energies that we have accepted as normal that our earth self exhibits, right? And this is something that then begins is like when we tune into our field, when we start to meditate and go through subtle energy training, which is essential for any person that's awakening. It's essential. Why? Because this is how we gain discernment. You guys are asking me, how do I know if I'm working with beings of the light or beings of the dark? Well, you have to learn how to perceive super subtle differences in frequency. And when you do that, we can realize that we can have so many different layers of energy inside of our own aura, inside of our own body, that inside these layers, sometimes there are things that are hiding. And these things are what makes up the shadow body. And sometimes the shadow body, people feel that the shadow body is almost like a part of them. They take ownership and they identify with it. They're like, oh, well, being angry sometimes is just part of that person's personality. Or being anxious or being bitchy sometimes is just how I am. And I say that actually it's just maybe for a long time. You've had this distortion in your field that you're just used to it, and you've really started to feel like those distortions in your field are a part of you. And so let's just briefly break down what kind of things can be inside of the shadow body. Something like, I'll just start with this personal experience, which is that, when I was younger, I experienced, some emotional abuse from some person that was close to me. And it was really a demon that had possessed this person. And it was like out of nowhere, this person would just get super enraged and they start yelling these things like, you're never going to do anything in your life. You should just go die. You're worthless. All of these things that, of course, beings that don't want me to succeed would want to say to me. But as a child, these harsh words came at me like venom, and they literally just tore holes in my aura that then allowed these demonic energies into my field that then created different things like depression, suicidal thoughts, anxiety, insecurity. And these things are what is kind of influencing my personality to feel depressed, right? To feel anxious, like there's just something wrong, or like I'm just irritated, or I just want to be, aggressive, or whatever it is, these distortions in our energy body, or even other energies like jealousy, greed. All of these things are actually distortions, artificial distortions, viral distortions in our body, in our subconscious. And so what happens then is that, over time when I started doing quantum healing, I would go back in time and I would scan the field and I would see these portals that are open of these beings literally coming in and building these, what I call the negative alien machinery. Now, negative alien machinery is literally something that exists in the etherics. This is something that I'm going to break down in the first workshop in the Pleiades Gateway because it's very important. But it's just going to require, its own workshop and to string it together in a focused way, because this is why we're here. This planet was, let's say, targeted, and it was turned into a loosh farm, basically, right? So in the 3D, it looks like we have, the government that is doing this crazy stuff. We have the medical system that really doesn't have our best interest in mind. And we have the education system that is indoctrinating our kids. And so on the surface level, in the disclosure community, we talk a lot about the 3D control system. But what is happening beyond that? We need to understand what's happening beyond that. And we need to start tapping into our interdimensionality, because that's actually where is the source of this control system. And so long as we're just tapped into the 3D of it, that's actually a good thing for them, because they will continue to literally do these plays and this theater in front of us. They will literally give us information, right? They have disinfo agents that literally release hidden information so that we're distracted on the 3D play while all this interdimensional looshing is occurring. And so long as nobody is aware of that interdimensional part, they can just keep moving the theater around in the 3D, and we're never going to make it out of this. Now, all starseeds are interdimensionally inclined. That's why you are energetically sensitive. You are maybe a little bit psychic. You have vivid dreams where you feel like there's something more in life. And basically, in order for us to actually bust through the false matrix, we need to connect interdimensionally through to our own source, which is the unified source, and then through our individual column, we're connecting and embodying that in the physical body. We're basically creating these holes, these portals that source energy is able to enter into the 3D artificial matrix. And then from that place, that's kind of the level of operation that we want to be in to really make a difference in this world. Now, as you can imagine, it's very difficult for me. I feel like I'm almost like a sales agent for doing the work, because there's just so many people out there that are selling instant things and selling, this and that. And you find that you take those classes and 3 years later, you're still in the same spot. Now, I mean, it's like I'm needing to own and really communicate with you guys how important this is, because, I've gone through a lot of training for the last 8 years of my life to be able to play this role for you, right? To be able to be a good way shower and to be able to give you actual information that is literally contracted with the starseed missions to be given. And it's because there's so much crap out there that sometimes starseeds can spend 5 years literally looking for information and just spinning around in circles and still where they were. And our intention is really to just give you this ramp of being like, look, here are all the parameters of our mission. We're here interdimensionally. There are things that we are connected to. There's a universal architecture to reality that you can learn and you can remember. And we can access those levels of our awareness. This is busting through the New Age glass ceiling, right? And this is really the frequency that the higher selves are transmitting through me of awakening. And just give me a comment if you're feeling that. If you're feeling the transmission of the energy of the lucidity coming in, because what is lucidity? Lucidity training is another thing that our team talk about a lot. Lucidity training is something that is essential to the starseed because we need to be 100% awake. We can't be 20% awake and going out there and trying to do things, because we're always going to be co-creating with the false matrix if we're not 100% awake. And what is being perfectly lucid? Yes, we do this in my school. The lucidity training, the sensitivity training, this is all stuff, when they told me, they're like, you're building a star being training facility. And this is what it is. And this is what we're going to be doing in the Pleiades Gateway over the 3 days, is all of these. It's a process, right? Is this going through a layer of our amnesia. And in order for me to be able to transmit this vibration of lucidity, I've had to do a lot of work, a lot of excavation, a lot of experimentation. And so that is actually what is valuable. That is the value that I'm offering to you, is all of the time that I've devoted to this process. And so I think that this is an important thing, because obviously I can't just show you my resume and be like, this is where I went to school. I went to Harvard. You can trust me, or whatever it is. It's like shamanic training. It's like, a lot of people can say, oh, I'm a shaman. And I do believe that there are a lot of people that are on the shamanic path at this time, because shamanic healing is what's needed. Shamanic healers are what's needed on the planet. And so many of us that have gained mastery in past lives and have access to interdimensional shamanic skills are here. But for the most part, people bypass the training part. And I just want to say that, training looks like training like a professional athlete. And this is literally what I've been doing for nearly a decade, of devoting my whole life to this training. And this is what I'm offering to you guys, is this true school of mastery. There is no fluff here. There's a lot of shortcuts, but shortcuts you have to apply. And what we really want is for you to be lucid. Okay, let's go back to lucid. What does lucidity mean? Right? What is existing lucidity? And I know that even now, it's easy to slide into small levels of amnesia. And so lucidity is like, okay, if somebody says, hey, what's your life purpose? Right? Your response is going to match how lucid your conscious awareness at all moments. Right? You should be ready to answer this question. Your soul should be right at the forefront of your consciousness and is perfectly aware of what your mission is. And so let's say if somebody asked me, well, what's your mission? What's your life purpose? I would probably say, I am here to to bring in the restoration of the architecture of universal consciousness through the liberation of humanity from the artificial prison system, which is also a loosh factory, right? This is kind of an extreme thing to say, but it's what is, right? And so that is a level of lucidity that I'm existing in all the time, which allows me to create solutions from that place. It doesn't mean that everything I create is that intense. You know, what I'm creating could be for muggles, but when I intend and when I connect to that level of clarity, I'm actually existing as my source self, because that's how my source self would understand the reality and complete lucidity of the situation. Now, lucidity is something that is cultivated over time, right? And lucidity is really what starseeds are looking for. When starseeds say, I want to know where I'm from and I want to know what my mission is, what they really want is lucidity. And oftentimes they're given this watered down answer like, you're here to, love humans and you're here to spread love and all that stuff, when really it's kind of like if you're on the police force, and this is what it is. We're cosmic galactic warriors of God. And so if you're on the police force and you get handed a dossier of your next mission and you open it and it just says, go to this neighborhood and, do your best or something, right? It's not very helpful because usually missions are very specific and our mission is actually quite specific. Right? There are so many aspects to this mission. There are dimensionalities of understanding that we have access to. And this is really what the Galactics are wanting to share. And we're going to start in the Pleiades Gateway. This is a briefing, right? The first workshop is a briefing of what we call the Christos Realignment Mission. The Christos Realignment Mission is a unified mission of the angelics, the starseeds, the 144,000, the indigos, whatever you want to call it, these beings that really feel this deep spark of God inside, that is here to reconnect everything to source and restore all fallen geometries of consciousness. And when we begin to perceive in that perspective, we realize that the distortions of consciousness is at the root of the things that we want to eradicate in the world. So if we want to be eradicating, pedophiles and human trafficking, but if we have no understanding of the interdimensional source of those things, and I guarantee you, pedophilia is not a natural expression of cosmic consciousness, right? So many of you probably have a lot of questions about that. Like, how come God is described as loving, but, and God is also pedophiles, right? Again, there's confusion, conflicting understandings of different New Age. What I'm trying to say here, I'm trying to say that the New Age, a false awakening matrix, has really taken universal concepts like unity and oneness and distorted them to confuse people, right? And all of a sudden, we have people parroting things like, pedophiles are a part of the unity, and so we need to just accept that or something. And so I bet there's a part of you that feel resonant with that and a part that feels not resonant with that, right? And so we can break that down and understand that we can perceive things from different dimensionalities, and things that are true on one dimensionality doesn't mean that they're equally true on a different dimensionality. Maybe we need to restructure our understanding depending on which density we're in and the physics that are existent in those dimensionalities. Okay? And there's been a lot of different things that's occurred, right? And I know that if you're resonating with this idea that there is a universal completion and there's a complete restoration of universal consciousness and genetics and the reconnection, it's about bringing home. I'm not saying that we need to just destroy pedophiles or whatever. This is about bringing home. But in order to bring home, we can't just be delusional about it, right? We need to understand the mechanism of how consciousness operates, how holographic consciousness operates, and how you need to position yourself, what skills and what level of consciousness and embodiment and actions do you need to take to participate in that with knowledge and not delusion? This is lucidity. Delusion is when you believe something, but you have no knowledge of the mechanism of how that is. And so that is a very dangerous place to be. And that is the mechanism that the false awakening new age utilizes to trap people. They just say these beautiful things that make your soul kind of make the spiritual part of you resonate with it. And then they keep you in this superficial fluff that's like, all is one, we're love. And, source loves everything. And all of those things are true. And there's no substance. And it doesn't actually help you know what your steps are. Right? So we want to bring in this real knowledge. And we want to bring in the information that actually supports your human self and beginning to access these higher dimensional aspects of yourself. And no, taking a 1-minute activation is not going to help. Because it's about your internal experience that is built over time. And there's so many layers. It's like, I know that I took the fast track. And I had a lot of help. And even then, right? Even then, it took a lot of effort to go through, because this mind control system that we have in the new age, in the world, is complex. Let's just break that down for a second, because now we're going into the second workshop in our Pleiades Gateway, which is all about the shadow body and the different kinds of mind control that we've really actually accepted as normal. So for example, the most important one and Darren says it's like showing someone a cake with no recipe to make it. Exactly, because they don't have the recipe, because it's fluff. So the things that make up the shadow body is what our second workshop is going to be about. And here we're really talking about the specifics of matrix programming. Now, this is really information that can't be channeled. Why can't it be channeled? Because the galactics are not here down on the ground. Okay? So who's going to be able to figure out the specifics of the mind control programming is a galactic scientist that's here on the ground. That would be me. I've spent the last 8 years dissecting, and I know that I'm going to be writing textbooks about spirit-centered psychology, because this is the stuff that I literally just nerd out on all day long. In my clients, I'm scanning their field, I'm figuring out what the mind control systems are, and they're so deeply ingrained into our multidimensional body to the point where just, either thinking that is normal or is really too scary to look at. I know this firsthand, right? Growing up in our society, there's just so many things that have been programmed into the society as normal. And this is all mind control. Patriarchy is a mind control virus. So, for example, in the earlier times when men went out and did the work, and when females stayed at home and took care of children, and this was the societal program. Who came up with that program? Did that program actually evolve naturally? No Native American tribe lives like that. Okay? There is no natural state of humanity. Like if you put a bunch of humans on a mountain, or if you just perceive humans that live in nature, that is not a program or a software operating system that is natural. So then we say, well, who came up with that? We know who came up with that. It was the cabal, or the gray aliens, or whoever that you perceive as being, the controllers of this world. And, of course, it's all a part of the same system. The people that are in the 3D are just the minions of that interdimensional being. And so, now, how does that influence you? Because you might think, well, I don't agree with that ideology. But then if your parents or your great-grandparents or your great-great-grandparents actually were fully immersed in that societal dogma, then it's actually ingrained in our holographic being. And so this is why we then have a hard time expressing ourselves. The women will naturally be overgiving, right? So many women don't know how to receive love and receive support, because we're literally programmed to be the submissive ones, to serve the males. And this is, again, not something that you decided with your mind, but something that is in your holography, something that is in your genetics, in the subconscious. Now, the subconscious, I gotta say, is another virus, right? Is another program, because where I come from, there's no such thing as a subconscious, because we're in gnosis and sovereignty of our energy, 100% of our energy. We remember who we are on a soul level. We have the records open of who we have been and our knowledge. And that's what we're meant to bring to this planet. The amnesia is totally not normal. And that's something that has been normalized as well. And that they'll tell you, oh, the earth, it's meant to be amnesia. You're meant to forget everything. And it's going to be really hard to remember. And while you're here, you don't know 90% of what's going on in your own body, because it's the subconscious, and that's what's normal. Right? Now, this is absurd. It's absurd, because when you subscribe to that belief, you're actually giving away the responsibility. It's like, oh, I'm depressed. Well, must be the subconscious. Nothing I can do about it. Oh, I am lazy, and must be the subconscious, and just how how I'm programmed. Like, I guess I can't do anything about it. And it's like, when you begin to excavate the subconscious, you realize that, okay, if an interdimensional species of ETs were trying to hijack human consciousness and steal and parasite off of human creative energy, of course they're going to tell the humans that there's a subconscious, and 90% of their energy, they don't know where it goes, right? And so, we're diving into the holography of the control system. And the only way that we can truly excavate the subconscious and bring it into consciousness and step fully out of amnesia is by knowing the technique and skills to go in. And it really helps to know what you're dealing with, right? A lot of people say, oh, I'm getting attacked, or, oh, I think my blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they're with the awareness. I never say I'm being attacked, because that's really directly giving my energy away to something and saying, I'm not a creator being that has absolute sovereignty over my field, and other things outside of my field can influence me. And on some level, it can be true. But once we reach this place of mastery over our own energy body, and we no longer have this subconscious that we're totally unaware of, so we can give away the responsibility of our sense of self, then we realize that everything comes back to our own shadow body, and it sucks. Okay? It blows. Why does it blow? Why does nobody want to do this level of work? And why is my work hard? Because I feel like I'm an advocate, like I'm selling deep inner work, because we're all here to liberate humanity, right? Our mission is to liberate humanity. But when we realize how deeply embedded the programming is, okay, and how many layers and how much devotion these negative beings have put into the control system, it's delusional to think that without the understanding of the interdimensional energy, that we're going to liberate humanity. Because in order to heal, in order to support humanity, you're going to need understanding of the mind control. You're going to need understanding of soul fragmentation. You're going to need understanding of how the soul enters the body, and how the false matrix keeps the soul from embodying completely, so that when a person comes to you, you can actually help them with those things. And no amount of delusion or anything else is really going to help, besides knowledge and awareness and understanding and skills. Okay? Why is it that some people do a healing and, people are like, oh, I didn't feel anything. And, when we do a healing, we're going through layers and layers, past lives, traumas, distortions, is because of this training that I've gone through. And this is what I'm here to help you access as well, because your raw talent is something that is yours. And in order to turn raw talent into something that is a repeatable and a skill that you can count on, that's where practice comes in, right? 10% raw talent, 90% diligence. And so, for all the healers out there, I know that I'm here to support, and taking us to the next level of really bringing through the next level and the next phase of the world's best healers. We're not here to just rub energy around like, oh, I'm channeling energy. I hope this works. I don't know where the energy is going, but I think it's doing something because I love you, right? Beginner level healer, and that's totally okay. And what this world needs are skilled people. If you're here to be a healer, if you're here to heal and support humanity and liberate humanity and support them, these are understandings and lucidity training and skills that you need. And so, we just get fired up about this stuff because, there's nothing like having real results. Imagine just going to work and you're working with people and people are just having like revelation after revelation, and by the end of the session they feel like they're connected to their higher self, and they feel like they're connected to God, possibly for the first time ever. I mean, it fills up my soul, and I just want all of the healers, all the starseeds, to experience that. That's really why I'm just totally gung-ho about this stuff. So one thing I want to say about the shadow body is that these distortion fields influence people. And so once you have lucidity, it's impossible for you to judge humanity and say, oh, well, they're so stupid that they're just falling for the TV and things that they tell them. Well, once you have interdimensional awareness, you realize that all the humans have literally been groomed for thousands of years to participate in the false matrix. Right? And so with that awareness, you realize that, okay, no amount of judging humanity is going to get my mission done to liberate them. So what is necessary? And then you realize that we need to actually fully activate ourselves so that we're creating source connected solutions that are full of creativity. Right? And also the ego training is another thing that we do in the school. Ego training has to do with, this is the stuff that they used to teach in the mystery schools, like the real temples, right? About aligning with the right motivation and creating the traits of mastery, right? All of these things are things that we can train, and we can entrain our body and our consciousness and our mission. So then we realize that we really have a complicated situation on our hands. And this is really when we realize the shadow body of the collective, right? That most people are just mostly not in their bodies. And the mental health, the medical system is there to validate itself. So somebody is depressed. They're like, oh, it's okay, just take this pill, Nobody says, well, maybe you're depressed because you live in a society that's just completely devoid of meaning and depth and soul, which are things that human beings need to be healthy. Human beings need divinity. It's part of our matrix. It's part of our design. We need that connection to source or love to thrive. And so, of course, people are sick. Of course, people have disease. When we say dis-ease, is mental illness, right? What is mental illness? I've discovered that mental illness is a byproduct of soul being disconnected from body and soul being tethered to a body that's existing out of alignment with our nature, with our inner nature and with our external nature, with our divine nature, right? Our internal nature of divinity and sacredness and holiness. And also with the external, which, nature also includes interdimensional connection to our higher selves and God as well. All those things are natural to our human being. And so when we have a society of people that exists in disconnection from what's natural to them, they're going to get sick. And they're going to have sicknesses that look like mental illness. And of course, it's very convenient for the false matrix to just create this medical system that then validates itself and says, oh, this is normal. Lots of people have anxiety. Just take this pill, you'll be fine. Whew. And so we're gaining this awareness that there is an interdimensional war that's happening, and there are literally interdimensional beings that have created this whole system to loosh off of humans. Okay? And so in order to create solutions for that, not having psychic awareness open and not having your multidimensionality working is kind of like going out onto a battlefield blindfolded with no weapon. And that's kind of how I feel about the lightworker community sometimes, where people are like, I'm here to bring in the new earth and I'm here to liberate and heal humanity. And then there's been no practice, no training, no knowledge, and we're just spreading love and light. And when I'm really tuning into it, it just feels like we're getting pummeled, screwed, right? We need power, we need resources, we need activation, we need knowledge in order to eradicate this force, or we're just going to get our ass handed to us because we're on the battlefield blindfolded and with no weapons, right? And that is just the level of lucidity and clarity and intention that we're bringing to the Pleiades Gateway. We don't mess around. We know how much growth can occur. This is a beautiful gateway that always gives me so many activations and gifts, but we need to actually know how to create the right environment to receive. And so I actually like these fields so much better than just doing one-on-ones, because again, I have to repeat myself 80 billion times because most people have the same implants and the same traumas. I mean, we all grew up inside the same false matrix. And so believe it or not, most people have the same traumas. Now, in the personal sessions, obviously, I'm able to scan your field and also tell you about your soul. But most of the time, I don't get to do that because most of the time, we just end up doing the car wash because people haven't done enough clearing to access the higher self. So this is a shortcut, right? My one-on-one sessions are $233 and I have raving reviews, but it's even better to be in a group field because the group field amplifies the medicine and we get to spend 24 hours together and I'm able to transmit a lot more information and, process a lot more healing together in the field. So let me just pull up okay, so we do talk about so I mean, this is really a, how to say, condensed version, right? Obviously, in order for all of these things to be fully integrated, my school is really created to break all of these things down. And it is going to take 3 years to go through all of the things. But, hopefully by the time you come out of this thing, and you could definitely go through it faster. I'm just saying the energetic integration of everything is probably going to take about 3 years, is what they're telling me. But hopefully by the time you come out of this, you are an embodied master healer that knows exactly what you're doing, not only just on people. Like if your role is not exactly to be a healer, you're still a healer because you're here to heal the interdimensional matrix of the fabric of the universe through your embodiment. And so all starseeds have that same mission. Even if you're not meant to express as a healer, you're still here to heal the architecture of the universe. And in order to do that, you have to do that inside of yourself. And then from that place, whatever you're inspired to do, art, music, teaching, healing, whatever it is that your higher self is inspired. And again, you're going to have this expanded source level creativity to create solutions that are out of the box, solutions your current human self can't even access because you're just not a vibrational match for miraculous source created solutions. But all of that again is going to require the integration and actually bringing your galactic starseed soul into your body. And so the first ceremony, the first 2-hour healing ceremony we're going to do is about the shadow body restoration. This is when we're clearing out outdated personality structures that we can literally just take the energy and literally melt it back. We do this in sessions sometimes and people are just like, wow, I didn't realize it's that easy. But quantum healing There's just so many applications to it. And when you're in this powerful healing field, so many things can happen. So outdated thoughts, patterns, and beliefs, childhood, time coordinates of wounding, sexual distortions, parental wounding, portals, psychic attacks of when you're a child, interdimensional abductions, all of those things we're going to go into the healing of. And of course, soul retrieval of fragmented parts. These are going to be what is the focus of the first healing ceremony. Now, I'm going to do a healing ceremony next weekend here on YouTube. That's what's going to be for Starseed Mission Support. So you guys can experience what is like inside of this medicine field. You know, people feel like they're on ayahuasca. People feel like they're literally on a medicine journey. And the reason for that is, you know, we're literally channeling these master healer beings. And the great thing about channeling these master beings is that, you know, in the matrix, a lot of distortions can come in through facilitators that use ayahuasca to gain power and stuff. And so when you're working directly with the energy, you're working with the pure spirit. There's just a pristine, pure energy that we're accessing instead of, you know, any distortions that you might encounter. And at this point, I feel like on the planet, we're getting so light and holographic. People really don't need a lot of the plant medicines. And even though they're great, I think plant medicines are great, it's hard to find a good facilitator. But at this point on Earth, you know, we can access these frequencies. We can access these frequencies and connect with these plant spirits and receive healing the same way simply by working with light and sound. So the second ceremony is going to be really interesting because we're going to be clearing out the light body, and this is going to be an advanced light body activation. So there's many artificial seals and implants that has been placed on the planetary body and on the collective human body to block higher dimensional energy. So if you've been meditating, you've been doing your work, you're doing everything, and you're still just not connecting to your interdimensional energies, it means that you just need to get your seals cleared. And this is something that I end up doing over and over and over and over and over again in my private sessions. And here we're just going to create space. We're going to clear all of the 7 J seals, the Templar seals, the Zeta seals, and other seals that I've discovered. And it's really just going to be a light body rewiring that's going to actually allow your body to access higher dimensional energy. I can't stress how important this is and how it's radically changed my life. You know, when I got this done, it just amplified my healing energy by so much. And there is going to be a workshop where I, you know, explain where these came from, why they exist, where they are. And, you know, we are going to teach you how to continually clear this because they are in the planetary body. It's going to take a critical mass of people who have these seals cleared to clear them from the planetary body. Now, this is another thing that's hijacked in the New Age, right? Where people are like, yeah, critical mass, you know, so many are awakening. We've hit critical mass. But what is the critical mass that we need to get to? Is it just waking up out of the 3D? Like, oh, you woke up. We need a critical mass of people that are awake. Or do we need a critical mass of people that have an activated template that are actually excrete or accreting source energy, right? And how do we accrete interdimensional source energy? By actually accessing interdimensional energy and opening up our field. Thank you so much, Liz, for posting the link there. And so, yes, we're going to break down these things. Now, the way that the Galactics plan this is really meticulous, right? It's not by accident. And you guys are going to find that I'm just a really detail-oriented person. I hate going to a conference where everything's just a mess and there's no intention and they just got a bunch of speakers that are famous and they're just, you know, drinking or something. Yeah, so anyway, so, you know, my events, they're totally intentional. Every single little thing is part of the process. The whole event is one single unified ceremony. So the reason why we can't just do J seal clearings is because there's all of those shadow body clearings that we need to do first. Once we do the shadow body clearings, you're actually going to be able to clear the JCOs. And then once you clear the JCOs, you're actually going to be able to activate your DNA and access your higher self. And so that's why the 3 ceremonies are positioned the way they are. And the workshops are really there to give you the mental understanding of why we do things. And let's see what else we have on here. I'm just fired up. I mean, this is like the most exciting stuff. Light body. So then we, talk about cultivating virtues and traits, right? This is like, if you're looking to step into the next step, you're like, I've been in the New Age community. I've been doing all the fluffy stuff. It's just not getting me results. Well, what gets you results guaranteed is devotion to a path of mastery. And I know this from having trained as a professional pianist, because, when I was 5 years old, so yes, I run beyond 15D energy. So this is like connecting to our Rishi avatar energy, because I actually come from outside of this universe. So I have access, and I've worked very hard to train my physical and etheric muscles to be able to channel this energy. That's why my healings work. That's why this space feels so good, is because I've really put in the work. And I just want to inspire as many people, because there's no greater investment, right? When I was 5 years old, my piano teacher told my mom that I shouldn't go to school because I was too talented of a piano player. And so I basically became a full-time professional piano trainer or trainee. I was training to become a professional piano player. And then when I was like 12 years old, I had this world-class pianist teacher, and he told my mother that if I trained with him for 4 more years, and this is training, like playing scales, right? Working up our muscles, really like getting agility training, all the trainings. And when people hear people playing piano, they're like, wow, that's so beautiful. Now, what went into just learning that one piece is like 10 years of training, right? And so I actually did not choose to follow that path. I did not want to become a professional pianist, but I know that I had to go through those experiences as a young person, because I needed the understanding of training, what it is to become a professional. And I think that in the New Age community, in the awakening community, there's just no regulations, right? So it's like anyone can just become a healer and start offering their services. And I think that's great that people want to help, but where is our standards of care? And I know for me, I did not start sharing my gifts until I received very clear validation from my team that it was time. So for me, it was when I got this tattoo, and it happened very synchronously, like extraordinarily synchronously. And I'm not going to tell the story because you guys can read in my book, all the stuff that's happened. But the Pleiades Gateway is happening November 19th, 20, and 21st during the Earth, Sun, and Pleiades stellar alignment. And this is a major gateway that's always changed my life. Every single time it happens. The primary alignment actually happens in May, and the secondary alignment happens in November. And again, during these alignments is when you can connect to interdimensional energy a lot easier. And this gateway particularly is called a Transharmonic Gateway. And Transharmonic Gateways is when interstellar energies open, particularly to give you access to higher dimensional consciousness energy. So there's different kinds of Stargate openings. That's what this one is. And that's why for this ceremony, we're particularly focusing on bringing in a higher dimensional aspect. Now, that's what this is about. It's about helping you connect to a higher dimensional aspect and helping and initiating a walk-in process. What is possible during this gateway is for you to make contact with a higher dimensional self and start the process of pulling that into the body. And we can't just do that without skill, without awareness. So that's why the first 2 days are focused on the earth self and all the things that we have to work through in the earth self. Because when super high energy, super high frequency energy enters the field, what happens? It's when we start purging, right? Is when we start going through the crap, when the soul energies were like, oh my God, we can love. Now, if we were super clear, I mean, I've just been in just the crazy creation mode. People around me are having a hard time. And I've just been like, in ecstatic joy. Not saying I don't have hard days. I've definitely also purged a lot. But you start to see the hard work pay off at some point. I promise. Okay. Yeah. And so let's see if there's anything else that we want to share here. Oh yeah. Okay. And so, oh yeah, and I've also uploaded the preparation files. It's actually really great if you guys start preparing now. So on the landing page of the event, I posted 3 super high frequency sound fields that I made particularly to help you guys prepare for this event. So I recommend everyone doing the meditations 30 minutes to an hour every day. And the more you do it now, the better your experience is going to be during the gateway, because the sound fields are going to help you start to clear the density now, right? You're going to prepare. And this is something that I really support all of my private clients to do. I send out this preparation file for people to do these meditations for at least a week or 2 before their session, because half the time during the session, I'm just hosing people off. And yeah, but it's kind of a waste of my skills because we don't get into anything fun. People want to know their higher self. They want to know where they came from. And I'm just there hosing off their field. So really, this is a energetic shower, an energetic bath that you can do before the event actually comes. And I find that this is really helpful. So you can literally just go on there and choose one of 3. There's one that is focused on clearing the aura. There's one that's focused on clearing sexual energy. And there's one that's focused on DNA activation. So you can literally just look and, tap into which one you need that day and really do it. Really do it every day. And you're going to have a really great time. Why is it that some people have a great experience and some people are like, I didn't feel anything? Is because there's density in the field that's not allowing us to perceive interdimensional energy. So that's also why, people believe everything they tell them on the TV, because their field is so dense. And that's also why, when we have this awareness, I know that, I'm going to start to make, really tricky medicine for the masses. I'm just going to make sound frequencies that bypass their mind and start to work interdimensionally. And I'm going to use certain things as backdoors, like healing eating disorders, healing depression, healing anxiety. I'm really excited to take all of this awareness and sneak into society, right? To do the work that I came here to do. There's nothing that makes me more excited than the idea that I'm going to bring these higher dimensional healing modalities into human society, because that's what we're here to do. I'm here to help humanity heal. I'm here to liberate humanity. And so in order to do that, I need the awareness and the skills and the capabilities to be able to do that. And you're right, Darren, it's totally not work at all. I mean, I work, sometimes I work 12 hours a day making these soundtracks, writing books. I'm writing like 5 books simultaneously. Because, yeah, it's like there's nothing that makes me happier than just feel like I'm on a mission and it feels so good in my body. I'm just giving birth to new earth, and all those things feel so good. And this is how our mission can feel like when our field is clear. Our soul is in our body. We know what we're doing. We got the lucidity, and bam, bam, we're creating all day long and we're having a great time. And that's what we want for our star beings. We won't settle for anything less. And that's what we're here to support our community in doing. Where's the music healing that will help us prepare? So once you have your ticket, it's going to have a link to a landing page where the recordings of the event will be made available. And so you can go on there, and it's already, preparation files are already there. You can go in and just take a look, and you can get started immediately. So a lot of people ask me about recordings. If you can't tune into all the lives, I would recommend doing as many of the ceremonies live as you can, and then you can catch up on the workshops at a later time. But they're obviously still gonna work through the recording. I also recommend, if you can't tune in live because of your time zone or you're working or whatever it is, you can just leave a glass of water out on an altar, and you can just tell the water, please collect all of the energies from the Pleiades Gateway ceremonies with Z, and your water is just gonna collect all the energies. And so when you're watching the recording at a later time, you can just, sip the water, watch the recording, and you'll catch all of the energies just as if you were tuning in live. So let's see. Somebody says, can you explain Christ consciousness and keeping clear of demonic entities when opening channels? So Christ consciousness is what we're describing as actually 12D consciousness. And there is actually energy that's beyond that in the avatar field, right? We call it Christ consciousness because Christ means divinity in form. Okay, divinity in form. And so why that pushes demonic consciousness out of the way is because when you bring that divinity of your source into your body, everything else needs to get out of the way, right? It's God. That God is the most powerful force. Divine love is the most powerful force. And so when you start to bring in 12D creator consciousness into your body, demonic entities and energies begin to clear out, right? That's the science of it. But there are actually energies even beyond that in the creator field. I think that one of the reasons why Jesus is very popular is because he embodied and reflected to us what a 12D avatar template looks like, what a 12D avatar embodied template can do, which is the Siddhic powers that begin to embody qualities of God, qualities like omnipotent, right? All possible, anything's possible beyond physics, all knowing, right? All present, ever present. All of these qualities of God is, really what we begin to embody when we expand into greater level of ourself. So when we begin to connect in with our 12D self, we're really, this is what Jesus meant by saying, you're going to do greater things than me, is that every single human being on this planet has the 12D template. There are beings that have templates even beyond that on this earth at this time, because we're really here to pull a lot of people along. And so we needed beings that were extremely advanced to come in and embody an even greater DNA template than Jesus. Beings like Babaji, who, had just, there's even more extraordinary stories about these masters that have access to these abilities. And really what it is our embodiment, our making God matter, Christ. This is the meaning, the definition of Christ is making divinity matter, or physical. That sentence was strange. So I hope that answers your question about Christ consciousness. And obviously, that's why our space is safe. I can explain to you that I understand scientifically what creates the field. Now, I work with energies from the sound field and beyond. So let's think about this. Avatar consciousness is 12D. And then we have the Tribeca fields, which are the founder flames. Those of you that connect with the blue flame, the gold ray, and the magenta, these are from 13 to 15D, which the Tribeca founder rays are. Now, beyond that, we have the sound field, which is pre-matter, before material manifestation, where there is just God consciousness, right? Of the universal force. And so those are the energies that I work with. It's taken me many years to be able to hold those energies in a field. And again, that's why my sessions work. That's why these spaces are immaculate. That's why it's actually, impossible for any being to be in the field, because it's like, it's God, it's divinity. And that's the stuff that fires me up. It's the stuff that fires me up. And I mean, this is like the Jedi stuff that it's like we're meant to embody. It's not me. I'm just reflecting at you what you're here to do, right? Not settling for this wishy-washy. You ask your spiritual teacher about chakras and they give you this watered down, we want to know how chakras work interdimensionally and how they create reality. This is the stuff that we can explain because we are an interdimensional scientist that has access to our memories. And we have embodied that inside of our body. And this is what you are here to do also. And we're just here to reflect what it looks like when we bust through the glass ceiling. We're like, yes, I'm here to be a pro. I am a pro. My soul is a pro. That's why you're here. You were called onto this mission because you are a pro at something. Absolutely. 8,000%. And it's okay to accept your power. It's okay to step into that. It's okay to not know right now in your human self. And just know that there is this ramp that is built for you. And you can find all of those things. You guys. Okay, I just want to know if it feels like I'm nagging. Does it feel like I'm nagging? Because that's not what I want to be doing. I just really want to inspire because I'm fired up, right? Like I'm just really excited. And so you guys let me know if it feels like I'm nagging or if I'm just fired up because that's like a feedback that I need. Somebody's asking about 5G towers. Now, the Pleiadians actually have been it's like we have the power to rewire and override 5G frequencies, but again, it's not about being delusional where you're like, okay, I'm doing it. I think I'm doing it. It's like how much energy are you accreting from your DNA is a scientific measurable frequency and amplitude. How you amplify your energy is by creating coherence in your field and embodying higher and higher dimensional aspects of yourself so that you're embodying qualities of God. Okay? And so absolutely take this as a training, Tasha, that you have the power to override the 5G tower and actually to reprogram it to emit other energies, and just don't be delusional about it and know that it's going to require a little bit of effort. Okay. All right, I'm happy that almost nobody is anybody saying I'm nagging. I was just looking for the one person that's like, Z, you're nagging. I'm like, ah. It's like a roller coaster. Like, I'm just having so much fun, you know? I know how good it feels. Like, when I see a starseed who's like, oh, I gotta work my matrix job, and I don't know what my skills are, and I don't know what, it's like, it hurts my heart because I'm like, man, we could be having so much fun. I'm having so much fun. And it wasn't always fun. Sometimes it's really shitty. But it's like we can always even perceive the shitty moments as fun, and then we're really good, you know? Anyway. So, I'm really just inspiring everyone. Please come out to the Pleiades Gateway. It's like my heart is in it. My heart is in this. I'm like, oh my God, look at this beautiful thing that we have to experience. We've made it for you. Please come, because I know that is going to bring so much value into your life. And I'm working on this because you guys might notice that I wasn't able to talk about this event like this last week. And I had this insecurity in my field that made me scared of like telling people, or because I didn't want you guys to feel like I was selling you something or something like that. And I was like, no, like I need to find the value, which is this is something that's very valuable and it's going to bring you a lot of joy, and it's an investment in, your spirit and in your embodiment to spend 3 days in ceremony with our cosmic family. And of course, to also value, it's like me starting to value my own skills because I worked really hard. I worked really hard to get to this place, and I still work very hard every single day because I know that I'm here to actually experience miracles and the potential of my DNA template. And every single person here in this field is also here to do that. And I'm excited when we can all just be generating resources. And then a lot of people are like, I want to create a village. And it's like, we've been saying we're going to buy land together for a decade now. And why can't we do it? Because we don't have money. Why don't we have money? We hate money. We don't want money. Money is evil. And it's like, okay, so do we want to buy land to start a community, or do we not want land? Because at this moment in time, that's just the reality. We need to accept the reality and realize that energy, money is energy. And, just so you guys know, I am very good with managing money. I will apply this money into very good causes, absolutely. And yeah, I'm just really excited to share that time and space with you guys. I'm really happy that I got to break it down because it's very technical. It's hard for me to articulate what it is exactly. I mean, it's a contact experience, but that's not what it is exactly. It's a healing ceremony, but that's not all it is either. It's a Stargate alignment, but that's not what it only is either. And so we got to talk about all the components of it, and so I'm very excited. Very excited. There were other things that I wanted to talk about, the demonic forces, but I didn't want to freak people out. Somebody says money is not energy, you nuts. Unsubbed. I love that. So funny. So, I feel bad for that person because like it's like this paradigm, right? Where people are like, oh, money is evil. And it's like when I connect it in with the spirit of money, and I've talked about this before, that it's really this hijacking of divine feminine creation energy. Okay? Because we're talking about creation energy. And yes, people that have used money on this planet have used it in a bad way, right? But also, it's our current form of currency. Now, when you understand cosmic creation mechanics, I don't really, I'm only saying money because that's the currently societally commonly used money. Now, if you want to work with humanity, you're not going to say, I'll trade you, my healing services for apples. It's like you can just buy apples with the money. It's kind of this convenience thing that everybody is using. So when I connect... Thank you, Patty. Exactly. I'm just going to highlight this right here. Yeah, when I connected with money, she was this Lakshmi goddess energy that felt trafficked, right? She wanted to be with the light workers. She's like, please let me be with the light workers, because what are you guys going to do? Really, if you guys had $1 million, what are you going to do with it? You're going to feed the sick and the homeless. You're going to create healing and love in the world. You're going to create permaculture. You're going to steward land, right? You're going to go and do so many good things. If you had $1 million, if somebody came to you and was like, here's a check for $1 million, are you going to say, no, I don't want that? Okay? But here's the thing, creating an integrity is something that is so important to me, actually. And so that's why it really sucks when somebody is like, unsubbed, money's not energy, you're nuts. Because, clearly their consciousness is not really ready to access true interdimensional creation mechanics teachings. Because that's really what we're talking about, right? How you think, how you move your body, how you exert energy in every waking moment of your life is really important. Now, there's so many people in the New Age community that, I'm not going to name any names, but people that are like, I'm teaching about ascension, and then they just do really sketchy shit in the back, and they make $1 million, and you're like, okay, so what did you do with the money exactly? And, did you do anything of service to other? And it's like, no. Well, it's like, what are we talking about here? Is in order for us to come into empowerment, we have to heal and do ego training. Ego training is something that we undergo, healing the inner children, right? Getting grounded, aligning our motivation. All of these things are things that we go through consciously and are taught through our team. My team has been, guiding me through these processes. And this is really what we teach in our school. So that's why we don't actually teach creation mechanics until the advanced levels. That's why the reason why we don't teach the advanced creation mechanics, which most people will call manifestation, right? Because what we want to make sure we do is healing the earth self, healing the mind control, healing the holes in our field, gaining understanding of our multidimensionality, right? That's what's in the beginner and the intermediate classes. And so by the time, because look, my ancestors are all about creation mechanics. These are the Taoist masters, right? They understood how to move energy through their body to shift reality at will. Now, I'm not going to just go ahead and tell you the secrets, because I don't, it's like, you don't just go to the monastery and go, okay, give me your most advanced teachings. I'll take them, right? It's like, well, you kind of have to go through the steps and make sure that you understand the building blocks right? Go through the ego training and the human self-healing. And then at a certain point, you're going to be in a vibrational place to be able to receive this multidimensional teachings. And there's a whole, this is where we get, I was like, we're really building a mystery school here. And mystery school is like, sometimes people say, I'm building a mystery school. And I would see those websites and I would be like, this is a mystery school. But when I tune into it, there's nothing of substance. Now, what is a mystery school? Is something that guides and teaches and holds the secrets of creation. And these are knowledge and teachings that want to be shared with people at this time. But there's this level of entitlement that can happen in the New Age community where you feel like, oh, you can just buy this class and all of a sudden you can be an ascended master. And it's like, okay, the teachings are available. Sometimes I've had to, kick people out of school because it's like this consumerism ideology just takes people over sometimes, where they're like, okay, I paid you $89 and that means I can be rude to you. Like, where's my downloads? And I'm like, yeah, all right, are you approaching my ancestors to get teachings, or are you trying to buy your way out, or what's happening here? Okay. So this is very interesting. It's very interesting to witness these things unfold in our community. Because, yeah, like, even with the Pleiades Gateway, on the preparation page, you're going to see that what we want is to approach, things that are worthy of our respect, with the right angle, with reverence. If you went to one of these ancient sages in a monastery and you're like, please teach me the ways, but you came with an attitude, they would just send you home, right? And it's not different now just because we have the internet. And there's a lot of people that will say they are here to teach you things, and you just got to try to figure out what they actually know. And so, anyway, is funding space tourism helping humanity? I don't know. I'll just stay in my lane. I'm going to stay in my lane. I'll tell you guys what I want to be investing in. I know one thing that's calling forth is the star children. There's star seeds that are young, under 10 years old or 15 years old, that are really needing spaces that are safe for them to explore themselves. And so I want to build, a Hogwarts-like private school that will be able to create that safe space, because these children, they have so many gifts and their templates are so beautiful that it's going to help the world for them to have a safe space. Another thing that I want to do is, investing in permaculture studies and things like that, because, what we want is to support people. And, a lot of this is not about doing it for people, it's about showing people why it's good for them to do it themselves, right? Because all of humanity get to co-create the new earth together. It's not just about us doing it for them. The third thing that I want to work on is, I'm building this app that basically, my intention is for any human being to go on the app and play this series of sound frequencies that's going to completely deprogram them. This is kind of my, this is totally my secret joy project, because I can just get so nerdy about it. And anyway, those are the things that I'm working on and that you'll be directly supporting while I support you in your healing process. And that's what reciprocity in the new earth is all about. And so, question. Oh, okay. So, for example, clearing the DNA imprints from the jab. So, I'm actually working on a free package right now to support people who have either had the sickness or had the jab. And so this is taking me a little while. So what happens? And I'll play one of the supporting sound healings at the end of this, so you can get a sensation of the field. Okay, but basically what I do when I'm making my sound frequencies is that I'll activate this holographic awareness, and I'll choose sound frequencies that correspond with certain octaves and densities of energy, and then I will imprint an intention into the sound. And so for this transmission and this sound field that we're creating to heal the jab is a little complicated because there's so many aspects that we want to bring in. For example, deactivating nano and clearing nano, teaching the body how to distinguish what is organic and what isn't. And so I'm creating this free class and package of sound healings for the plague. It's just taking me some time to create. So that's also something that, I'm working on. But anyway, I'm going to share with you guys one of the three sound healings from the preparation files. And yeah, can we pay for the prep files? Maybe send me an email and because they're really a part of a bigger series and I don't really want to be releasing them yet. I just wanted to apply them because they're really helpful to this process. Okay, so the one that I'm about to share with you guys is, let's see which one wants to be played. It's going to be the aura repair chamber. So the aura repair chamber is basically a source field, is a sound field frequency that is coded to clear distortion and trauma layer by layer from the layers of highest priority. The frequencies are coded to only work on your field if it has permission. And it's coded to only do things that are in alignment with your highest love and joy. And so this is actually something that I put on if I'm ever feeling a little bit weird, or if I have to clear something, or if I'm feeling, psychic impressions that are triggering a part of my field in reaction into fear. And so I'm going to play this for about 10 minutes. And yeah, you guys can definitely please give me feedback on if it works, because this is like me, mad scientist in the cave, right? I'm coding these sound frequencies and they work for me. So I want to know if they work for you as well. So let's see if I can upload this video. Let's see, download. Darren says, what do you feel about teachings like Muji, that you don't have to heal anything, just be present? So I actually went into this in my chat that's called The Real Galactics and CIA Counterfeits, I think. But it's a great question. What happens when you're being present in meditation is that shit's gonna start coming up. So I don't really understand what he's saying, or unless he's saying just be present and don't meditate, right? Because what I'm saying is, like, what is the natural state of your aura? What is the natural state of your soul? It's God, is divinity, is source, is expansion, is joy, is creativity. So if you're not feeling those things consistently in a stable way, then it means that there's things that's blocking you from your true self. Okay? And so then when you begin to get present, as in the source of your consciousness starts to come to the forefront, that part of you that is pure source divinity, it's going to start to overshadow and just shed light on all the things that are blocking that from just being your experience. So, part of it is then realizing that, so be present through the shit is like accepting that you're a slave and that you, unfortunately, you don't have access to your source self. Unfortunately, you're not God right now, and you're just gonna have to accept it. And I mean, I felt the exuberance of what it feels like to truly be in unity with source, with God, with my source of self. Okay. And some other things, going to Vipassana, these teachers saying misery is the foundation of the universe and it's a part of life. And of course, who came up with that? I don't know. You think about that, you'll figure that out. So I think his teachings is that everything is phenomenal and that you are the seeing of it all. So like any subtle emotional energy cannot be you as it is seen. I just like that literally hurts my brain. I have no idea what that means. It's like, and I feel this way about a lot of really mental teachings about like non-duality. And it's like, I believe in non-duality. I believe in source unity, but sometimes like non-duality, like I would rather go from non-duality, so non-two to wholeness, to infinity, to all that is, than to like one dimensional of like everything's one, so don't have preferences and don't be alive and just, you know, be be in the shit. So anyway, I definitely agree with not reacting to shit, right? We're sovereign deciders of our fate, and so we can choose how we respond and how we react to things. We can exert our energy and our personality. We're free to express, we're free to feel, we're free to experience ourselves as source divinity. And so, I mean, really just about how it makes you feel. I feel like a lot of spiritual teachings are very patriarchal, and I'm not about it. I'm just about source being this brilliant, holy divinity that we are. And everything that's in the way of us experiencing that can be released and can be transformed so that we are experiencing ourself as our true self, which is source divinity or Christ consciousness. And as you can see, this is a great conversation. There are so many spiritual teachings and cults and philosophies that literally just try to keep you from that very simple realization that you are source and you are worthy of joy and you're worthy of experiencing a life that's beautiful and full of pleasure and full of joy, right? That's all it is. That's actually super simple. So on that note, thank you so much everybody for tuning in live, and I'm gonna play this aura field repair track for just a few minutes, and I would love for you guys to let me know if this works for you, right? So yeah, I'm really excited to get that feedback because I'm really happy when I made this. So bye. Source Field Aura Repair Chamber. This sound field is charged with many layers of intentions for multi-dimensional healing, energy body repair, and soul body restoration. Let's begin by breathing deep into the body, connecting to the innocence of the body intelligence, relaxing into the sound field, feeling comfortable, cherished, held, and loved. Your body is relaxing, relaxing. Energy field is relaxing, expanding. Your mind is relaxing, so relaxed. Breathing into your heart, lighting up the heart star. Allow your heart light to permeate your chest. Know that in this field, it is commanded that only the energies of your highest love, joy, and soul's evolution at this time may transpire and assist in your field in any way. Dissolving into the sound field and allowing the benevolent, loving, healing energies to work for you. guys. Kind of get into this like really deep space, and then you're just like all right. Thank you for receiving that little ditty there, and also for giving me feedback. I'm so happy that you guys enjoyed that, and it's a really powerful track if you can really lie down and take time with it as a meditation guide. I mean, it's a field, so when you're meditating, it can really amplify your experience, and you can get more done inside of the field. And so, yeah, I always love hanging out with you guys so much. I love you. If you feel like, you know a starseed in your life that could really benefit from starseed mission support, definitely go ahead and just send these videos to them. Maybe start with the starseed mission, which is on the channel. And yeah, I love you guys so much. I have those in full length downloadable videos. For those of you who are participating in the Pleiades Gateway, I will be releasing these tracks at a later time. I'm just not going to be releasing that right now because I want to complete this series that I'm making. So right now they're only available really to support people that are going into ceremony. Hi Stephanie, welcome. So right now, no place. If you want to come to the Pleiades Gateway, the link is in the description box. And, you guys are going to have such a great time. It's just going to be like Christmas. Like, I'm really a proponent of creating new holidays. Screw Halloween and Easter. How about the Pleiades Gateway? Because we're aligned with the Pleiades, and that's when the star people celebrate. So it's going to be Christmas. Right? It's just Starseed Christmas. What do you want the most as a gift? Your soul. Like, what else do you want? I don't know. I just want my soul. It's like Christmas when I get my soul parts back. So, I'm exploring a calendar as well because I'm exploring other gateways, because all the gateways have like a different personality and different things happen. And so I'm exploring the Andromeda alignment and the Arcturus alignment and Orion alignment and all of these different alignments. And I think it's going to take me a few years, obviously, because you want data from many years to figure out what the characteristics of the gateways are. But I definitely just pay attention to cycles in my own life. And the Pleiades Gateway is one that always brings me craziness. Like, one year I was discovering this like ancient Pleiadian light technology on like sacred Cherokee land. And this is before I knew that there was Cherokee people there. And then I met this Cherokee elder like on the Pleiades Gateway, and he was like, "You're a star person. I know you because I'm a star person because I'm from the Pleiades." And then he like basically teaches me how to build a star lodge, which is like a specific kind of a sweat lodge that's specifically built to connect with star people on the Pleiades Gateway. And he didn't know it was the Pleiades Gateway, but I had just learned about it, and I was like, this is crazy. And he told me this whole story about how his people came in these massive ships and the Pleiadians dropped them off, and he's got this huge connection to the star people. And of course, then the next year or the year after, Kara was born on the Pleiades Gateway. And once again, this major gateway alignment where so much soul growth. And this is not just like, oh, I think I'm feeling energies. It's like profound soul shifting depth and stuff. And so that's what we're interested in. We're interested in stuff that has substance, that carries soul, that makes us connected to like the profoundness of being a human. And that's the stuff that I'm nerdy about. And I guess that's the stuff that y'all are nerdy about because you nerd out with me every week. And sometimes I'm like, I can't believe you guys are just nerding out with me. This is the best ever. I'm glad I didn't have any friends in high school and I didn't sacrifice my sense of self, because now I get to meet you guys and I get to resonate and nerd out with you guys, and that's the greatest. Let's see. How important is it to live at ground level rather than high up in an apartment building for grounding in your home? I have no idea. I have personally never lived in an apartment building. I don't think I could do it. I have terrible sleep when I'm like at a hotel. And what I usually do if I'm staying at a hotel or something is that I would basically establish what I call a safety zone or a Q zone. These are things that we also teach in our school. You know, it's not something that I can just like tell you how to do, because, you know, it's kind of like how a car mechanic can't just tell you how to build a car. It's like it takes components. But basically what I do when I'm in public is I'll just create a safety zone in the space, and then I'll send a grounding cord down into the crystalline core of the earth and out into deep space. So I don't think I could live, you know, we're about to possibly go somewhere, and I don't think I could actually, you know, stay anywhere not on the ground. I usually get an Airbnb. Hopefully I get to stay in the ground. I don't like to be up there, but you know, you can definitely just send a line of copper from your floor down to the ground. You know, you can. I mean, there's no limitation. You can be your God self anywhere you are. It doesn't matter. Your body is a biological thing that has reactions. You know, when it's like gravity, like, you know, for now, unless you're an activated avatar and you can fly, which I think we can, but it's like I'm not going to be delusional and just jump out a window now because I'm not there yet. And so it's the same thing. Like I know that my physical body is influenced by physics, and so there are things that I can do for short term, and I personally don't like to live in an apartment. If you're in an apartment, there are definitely things that you can do though to make yourself feel better, right? There's always solutions. And if you're creating, you know, it's just preference and whatnot. But Tasha's talking about a grounding mat. That's a great thing. I've lied on those and I just kind of take a nap. It's like they're so great. Earthing pillows are great. Yeah. Yeah, so people are going to be able to buy the healing tracks. They're just a part of a series that I don't want to release them on their own. I want to release the whole series because they support different systems, and you know, they're not really complete. They're just supporting the Pleiades Gateway and serving a purpose, but I don't really want to put them out there yet. I'm not ready. But they will be made available at some point. I'm just making a whole bunch of them to be a series so I can support, you know, different things that might come up. Having plants, excellent. Indoor plants are great. I love indoor plants. I love them. Okay. I love you guys so much. I love you guys so much. I'm excited for this journey that we're on. I'm so happy that you guys hang out in the mothership, and I know that it nourishes me. The vibrations come through, they are nourishing. And I'm so happy that they're nourishing so many around the world at this time. And I love you. I will see you guys next week. Bye.